Everyone, this is Jim Biringer here, NHLRumors.com. Please subscribe to the video, hit that notification bell, like this video, comment on this video as well. It is the lull of the NHL offseason as discussed on TSN 690 this past week with Simon Salikis and Mitch Gallo. There isn't much going on in the rumor mill. However, there's still a couple of RFAs out there looking for contracts. The couple of big ones, Marco Rossi in the Minnesota Wild, Luke Hughes in the New Jersey Devils. Obviously, Kirill Kaprizov is looking for an extension as well. He's entering the final year of his contract. Same with Connor McDavid out with the Edmonton Oilers, Connor's area as well. Looking for a new contract, the RFA in Calgary, as well as Mason McTavish in Anaheim. And those trade rumors still out there. Lots of speculation what's going to happen with the Anaheim Ducks. And look, Mason McTavish, he's a cornerstone piece for that team. However, the fact that this contract isn't done yet is a little concerning. Again, we went down this path with Trevor Zegras and Jamie Drysdale, both of whom are now in Philadelphia. So it begs the question, if not, when is Mason McTavish a Pat Verbeek guy? Because Joel Quenneville's in there. You don't want him missing time. We saw what happened with Zegras and Drysdale a couple of years ago when they signed their bridge deals. The estimates on McTavish is 6 times $6.7 million. This is according to Frank Saravalli, now of Bleacher Report, when he came out this past week and went around the rumorville. Now, is that a little high? Yes, because Verbeek probably won't give him that. He may give him 5 times 3, 3 times 5 type deal. That's probably what he wants to do. He wants to get a prove-it bridge type deal because where did he come from? Steve Yzerman's camp, and what did Steve Yzerman do outside of a couple of players in Tampa? Give them bridge deals. Kucherov, Point, all those guys before they got their big money contracts. However, Mason McTavish wants to know that he's playing second-line center. They have a lot of centers there. Problem is you're going to rely on Ryan Strome to be your second-line center. It's Leo Carlsson. It's Mason McTavish. However, that's not stopping the speculation linking him to the Montreal Canadiens and other teams who need a center. Similar to what we see in Calgary with Nazem Kadri, despite the trade package is not probably up to par to what Flames GM Craig Conroy wants, similar to what he wants with Rasmus Anderson. Those trade deals are not going to go down because the Flames want to make the playoffs. The Flames want to improve. They're not going to look for 3 pieces when they're getting rid of 2, especially 2 centers. That's hard to come by. 2 right shot centers, even harder to come by. So what is Anaheim going to do? They're going to play the waiting game, but he can't miss time in training camp with Joel Quenneville there. That leads to injuries. That leads to poor play. Mason McTavish is coming along real nicely for the Anaheim Ducks. This is something that we're going to have to keep an eye on. Again, it's quiet. The Ducks have a lot of cap space. They should be able to match anything any team wants to do with him. And that's why teams are afraid to make an offer sheet because of what's coming down the pipeline. And they know they just don't want to do Pat Verbeek's job for him. And now we're in a tight negotiation, similar to what we're seeing in New Jersey with Luke Hughes. Tom Fitzgerald said this was a priority before July 4th. We're past July 4th. We're at the 15th of August. It'll be the 16th on Saturday when everybody sees this. Yeah, this is a priority to get done before training camp. Look, yes, they still need to make a trade, but everybody knows they need to make a trade. Yes, you can say they don't have leverage once the new deal is signed because then everybody knows they need to move money. But everybody knows they need to move money now. So there's no leverage for New Jersey. All the leverage is with Luke Hughes. Does he get a short-term deal at Jack Hughes' AAV? Does he get under $8 million on a longer-term deal? Seems like they want to go 7 years with him. They want to buy up UFA years. He's a 10.2C RFA. That means he couldn't be qualified. Couldn't have arbitration. Similar to the situation with Lane Hudson with the Montreal Canadiens. Marco D'Amico of RG Media broke that all down in his latest article. There's patience there. I mean, he's only entering the last year of his deal. Team controlled. They're going to probably want to get something in around Noah Dobson, maybe a little bit more. That $8.5, $9.5 million range. There's patience with Lane Hudson. There's no patience in New Jersey. Training camp is approaching. But again, they have options on the table for him. And according to FPH FP Analytics, Luke Hughes could get around $8.4 million on a 7-year deal. That's around what Brock Faber in Minnesota is getting. Brock Faber's a little bit better of a defenseman. Luke Hughes has some things to work on in his own zone. His skating is undeniable. What he can do with the puck, how he quarterbacks a power play. Everybody knows, and the team knows they want to keep him. He wants to be there long term, but he's looking at options. And as the things get closer and closer to training camp, a bridge deal might be the only way this thing gets worked out, despite them wanting to work on a long-term deal. Could they get in the Bowen Byram range, the $6.25 million on a 3-year deal? Then he hits it big again. Are the brothers with their agent trying to play the waiting game so they all get paid at the same time? And then the third one comes in. A lot of options on the table here. But again, as Frank Saravalli noted, they want to get this done. It's not time to panic. It's not like it's not going to get done. It's going to get eventually done. And don't forget that option out there of, oh, we know Jonathan Kovacevic is going to be ready for the first game. Well, we can sign him, worry about the trade later, put Kovacevic on LTIR. That could be the game plan moving forward. Again, it's quiet here in this lull of the offseason. Again, I think most expected it, though a lot of people said there would be a lot of busyness here. I think everybody's looking at the situations out there. And with Hudson in Montreal, he's going to wait for Luke Hughes to sign because he can and has to. Not like he has to sign an extension right now. But you're going to see what Hughes signs for. You're going to see what Marco Rossi signs for. Those are the comparables, right? And Rossi plays a different position, but Luke Hughes plays defense. You're looking at those comparable numbers around the league, and you're saying, okay, what is he going to get? Hudson-wise, personally, there's a reason why Noah Dobson took $9.5 million in Montreal. Lane Hudson's probably getting 10. Is the accolades a little high for him to say the most talented player since Guy Lafleur? Probably, but the expectations are high in Montreal this year. Speaking of Rossi, Saravalli projects 7 times $7.4 million. Not sure the Minnesota want to go that high with him, considering Boldy, what they're paying Boldy, what they're paying Faber, what they're going to pay Kaprizov. And if everybody thinks his comparables are Mikko Rantanen and Mitch Marner at $12 million, not happening. It's Leon Draisaitl at $14 million. Been on the train on this. He's the most important player in Minnesota Wild history. He's the most talented player in Minnesota Wild history. It's the franchise's best player in history. He'll probably get 14 and a half, maybe 15 million, probably a short-term deal, similar to what we're going to see with Connor McDavid in Edmonton. Short-term deal. The money will be there, $16 to $18 million a season. Edmonton's still got to work on that goalie situation. Could they land a guy like Sebastian Cossa? Again, no worries from Bill Guerin in Minnesota about Rossi and Kaprizov, especially Kaprizov. They know they can get it done. They have some time there. But as this thing drags into the season, it could become a distraction. Again, we've seen players, Austin Matthews being one, in Toronto sign, late August. Draisaitl signed around this time last year, signed his extension. William Nylander waited. David Pastrnak waited. Some of these guys are going to wait. Dylan Larkin waited to sign his extension. It's all in the negotiation process right now. Minnesota's coming out of those buyouts. They have money to spend. It'll be interesting to see how the numbers work out for the Minnesota Wild, especially on Rossi, who feels that he doesn't want to take a bridge deal because if he takes a bridge deal, he's not going to be able to show his worth. One more before we wrap up. Mentioned Calgary before. We mentioned Kadri, mentioned Anderson, those players, but Connor Zary needs a new deal. Projections are 6 times 5.7. That's pretty reasonable for a good player as they're looking to continue to improve and be in the playoffs this year. Not to mention Dustin Wolf. What does he get? Does he get the John Gibson deal? Around $6 million. Does he get an Ottinger type deal at 8.25, 8.5? Is he in that level? Are they going to go bridge and then long term, or are they going to sign him to a medium range deal, like a 5-year deal, and then do it again? I personally think a 4 to 5-year deal for Dustin Wolf is probably ideal situation, especially for a young goaltender like that, because you never know with these goalies. They could be great one year, and in the next couple of years after they sign these extensions, they fall off. I think Wolf is not in the latter category. He's going to be a mainstay on this team, and he's going to be the number one guy moving forward. Dan Vladar was moved out of Calgary. He signed to go play in Philadelphia. So, again, it's the lull of the offseason. Things could pick up, as mentioned on TSN 690, as we get closer to these training camps, end of the month. Again, things to keep an eye on. Luke Hughes, Marco Rossi, Mason McTavish, what happens with them. Same with Connor Zary. Again, these RFAs are still looking for their deals. Jack Rostovic's name's still out there. He's still on the free agent market. Let's see where things happen there. Where does he land? Could it be Vancouver, Columbus, places like that? Does he land someplace else? Again, it's quiet right now. GM's got a lot of their work in. And a little caveat, if you think this offseason was slow, probably future off seasons are going to be similar, because speaking with an anonymous league exec, with teams having more money, with the salary cap going up, they're going to look to keep their own players, which means they may not go to free agency. And the biggest things we'll see is trades. This is Jim Biringer, NHLRumors.com. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video. Guys, take care, and we'll be back again real soon.